Sources of finance describes where business gets its money from, and this is one of the key questions on paper 2, which is based on a scenario, remember, where you're trying to identify what source of finance businesses could use. Normally there's a question requiring you to compare two sources of finance. So depending on what the business needs the money for will affect the choices of finance that they can have. So main reasons businesses want some money might be for day-to-day expenses, they're looking to extend, or actually they're just starting up and establishing their new business. There are 9 methods of raising finance that you need to know. You need to be able to define each of these with the advantages and disadvantages of each source of finance. They would be the loan, sale of assets, share issue, overdraft, owner's capital, crowdfunding, trade credit, take on a new partner, and retained profit. When we're looking at the sources of finance and what finance we might want to use, we have to be aware of the fact that some finance is used for short-term requirements, so that would be within 12 months. Medium to long term is anything between 1 to 5 years or more. And so depending on how long we want the finance for will impact our choices as we move through the options. Okay, so remember, we might want to have finance because we need new supplies of stock. That's your short-term day-to-day expenses. Okay, so you wouldn't want to be paying back money for over 5 years when actually you spent the money 5 years ago. Okay, so when we're looking at it, we're going to look at what do we want the money for, and then we'll choose whether an internal or an external source of finance is the best option. So remember, internal sources of finance are those that we have within the business, so that would be retained profit. Remember, the money that we keep from previous years, selling our assets, so things we don't need anymore, or actually the owner putting in some more money. Okay, and then the external finance, remember, is those things that come from outside the business, an overdraft, a loan, maybe taking on a new partner or issuing more shares, crowdfunding or trade credit. Okay, so external finance tends to be much harder to arrange, takes longer to arrange, right? And there is often a cost to it. So remember, we've got interest, the money that is paid, okay, on the money that we borrow, so it becomes much more expensive. So depending on what we need the money for, we need to be mindful of that fact, right? So that's part of the advantages and disadvantages that you've looked at. Common misconception for finance is the fact that not all businesses can access the same types of finance. So you really do have to be very careful and look at the type of ownership of the business and how long they've been established. Okay, so if I am a sole trader and I've just started up in business, then unfortunately for me, I would probably need to remove from the options the sale of assets, okay, because I haven't got any, because I'm a sole trader and I've just established the business. And that means that I also might not have any more money that I could put into the business in the short term. Okay, equally, if I'm newly established, okay, I won't have any retained profit in the second year either, right? Because I might not have made any profit in the first year. So really do have to look very carefully at how long the business has been established and the type of ownership. Remember, a new partner can only be taken on by a partnership, and limited companies and PLCs can sell shares. Okay, and we would say that that's a long-term source of finance, because if you're going to give up control of your business, then you're really looking at that in the long term, because it's quite hard to buy those shares back, right? And you're limited by the number of people that you might know. If you're a limited company, PLC, it's quite expensive to float or sell shares on the stock exchange. Okay, and if I am a smaller company and I have unlimited liability, then a bank loan is very difficult for me, because I have nothing up as collateral that the bank can go back to. They'll take everything away from me, remember, okay, if I can't pay that back. So common misconceptions is that really it depends on the type of ownership and how long the business has been established. Okay, so do remember that, because it is quite important. Okay, thank you.